Grand Rising, everybody. This is Coach Renz, and we are going through the Kybalion today. We're in the Kybalion, and we are in the chapter of the All in All. That's what we're going to talk about today. I want to thank everybody for joining me today. If you're watching this on replay, thank you for being here. We're going to get started in about 3-4 minutes, so you might want to skip ahead if you're just now finding me for the first time or you're just looking at this on replay. For everybody who's coming on live, I'm going to give you a few minutes to get on here. Definitely when you come on, let me know who you are, where you're at, that sort of thing. We are going to keep everything on subject for the first, as we go through this chapter of the All in All. It's a short chapter, short little reading, but it's a good discussion. It's a good discussion point. People like to ask, why is this important? People like to ask people who deconstruct from religion, what do you believe now? What do you worship now? That sort of thing, or who is your God, all that sort of thing. First and foremost, as a person who's deconstructed from religion, understand I don't worship anything. There is no God to be worshipped. I will not ever worship a God. If a God requires my worship, then that is not a God, as far as I'm concerned. But when they just like who created the universe or what created the universe, to me, the all in all coincide with the singularity, and so to speak. As we go through this, you'll go through the all, you'll understand that. But there's the all. This is where this is going to break in. We've already discussed what the all is. This is going to explain the paradox of why the all is all, but all is not the all. So when people walk around, they talking about I am God, I am God, I am God. I'm like, nah, bro. Doesn't necessarily work that way. I understand what you're trying to say, but it's not. And when we talk about people who within almost every religion, it is some sense of God created man in his own image out of clay, added his DNA, something, always, or something like that. This kind of breaks down with the all in all why. Yet that's a yes and a no. That's a yes and a no. So we're going to go through that. Let me know who you are, where you at. We still got like about 30-40 seconds before we get started. What's up, Willie? How you doing? Asher, how you doing? I did get your message, Asher. Just didn't get a chance to reply to you. Well, I could have replied to you. I just got busy doing a bunch of other stuff. I hate when people say, oh, I didn't get a chance. Motherfucker, you got time. But I just got caught up in my day, and then once I realized that it was late. But we're going to get started. If you're got an issue with cigars, I own a cigar lounge, so I smoke my cigars while I do my videos. If that's reason for a person to run away, then bye. I bring that up because I literally had somebody say that. I love your information. I just don't like watching you smoke cigars. Then go find somebody else to listen to. I'm not changing who I am and what I do to fit everybody. But I'm a little sad today, y'all. I broke my little $10 pair of glasses, my little $10 pair of reading glasses. So I had to pull out one of the other ones because I have about 7, 8, 9, 10 of them. So for those who are finding first time, what we're coming from today is the Kybalion. It's a book called the Kybalion. Basically, this is the Cliff Notes from, it's a Cliff Notes of a certain portion of the Emerald Tablets. The Emerald Tablets of Thoth, the Atlantean is supposedly these emerald tablets. They're not made out of emerald, but they're the color of emerald. And they're made, these tablets have been written on. We can't figure out how to write on them today. Some people even go as far as say they don't even exist, but I've seen them, so whatever. I've seen 10 of the tablets. They tell me that there's at least 2 or 3 more tablets that they won't allow anybody else to see. But anyway, we don't know the material that they're written on. It has a whole bunch of stuff. It talks about the sinking of Atlantis, Thoth and his daddy Thothmay, and him becoming a master and flying over to the land of Kim, starting the civilization. going to other places, starting civilizations, all this sort of thing. And it kind of marries up very well with the Sumerian story and the Kemetic story. But out of all of it, it is the Kybalion, the hermetic laws, are the primary. That's the juice that everybody should be able to grasp. There's some other things that more adepts should be able to grasp, but the hermetic laws, if you can't get this part down, all the other stuff is useless. I mean, we talk about, we go through our spills concerning different writings, who did this, who did that, what does this mean, different religions and all that. At the end of the day, this is the meat and potatoes. This the juice. All right. You live by this, you're good. You understand this, you're good. And it may take several readings, because you can tell by the way my book is kind of mangled up. I've read this book a bunch of times. Like, I don't know if y'all can see how jacked up this one is. It's not suffered through water damage and everything. But this is the version that I like, by the 3 initiates. I feel that a dab in my videos, and if someone got an issue, issue with it, it's like they also have a problem with my content. Could you show the book again? Not a problem. I know it looks backwards on the camera to me, but it's called the Kybalion, 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 by 3 initiates. All right. So y'all ready? Let's go ahead and get started. Normally we start these at 10 o'clock. I am way late. I'm getting a little fat, so I started working out, throwing my schedule off a little bit, but I'm gonna try to get it right. I know tomorrow, I already warned you guys, tomorrow I got a dental appointment, and it's at the VA at 9:30. Probably won't even be able to do a show tomorrow, but we'll see how it goes. We will see how it goes, because I think they're gonna pull this back too. One of my fillings fell out. Anyway, let's go. So we are at the point where we're talking about the all in all. I did say yesterday we are only going to do the all in all, because the next chapter is the law of correspondence, and that is way too in depth. That needs to be a whole 2 hours by itself. So we're doing that one next Thursday. We do this every Thursday, and when we finish with this book, we'll pick up a different one. All right. So it starts with an axiom: the all in all. Well, all and this is the main concept. This is really all you need to get. If you can get this part, it's going to just break it down a lot more, but just to get this part. While all is in the all, it is equally true that the all is in all. To him who truly understands this have come great knowledge. So I'm going to read that again. While all is in the all, meaning all of us, everything is in the all, it is equally true that the all, the creative mind, is in all. Its essence is somewhat in all, but it is the breakdown of what that is, and that's what this chapter is going to get into. But you won't know that you are that. Well, no, you know that you are that, but you are not the all. While all is in the all, it is equally true that the all is in all. So it is within you. The frequency is in you. Right? So hopefully once we get past that, you'll understand it deeper, and you will stop running around. Some people will continuously run around and think that one day they will unify in total consciousness with whatever they call God. That's not going to happen. You will always be a step behind. But let's go into what it says and break it down as we go. All right? Good. How often have the majority of people heard repeated the statement that their deity, called by many names, was the all in all, and how little they have suspected the inner code truth concealed by these carelessly uttered words. The commonly used expression is a survival of the ancient hermetic maxim quoted above. As the Kybalion says, to him who truly understands this, have come great knowledge. And this, being so, let us seek this truth, the understanding of which means so much. In this statement of truth, the Hermetic maxim is concealed one of the greatest philosophical, scientific, and religious truths. So, just an overview that religions have all said that the all is in all, that their deity is a part of everything. Right? I wish if you guys weren't here for the first, this is part 5 of going over the Kybalion. You can go to my YouTube channel and you can catch the other ones. And there's one where we go in depth about how the all is a part of everything, but everything is not the all, because then whatever the all is, it would have the consciousness of the all. And with so many religious throughout time and history have said that their all is part of them, and that they are within it, but they are unknowing of it. But they have this mindset that even being unknowing of it, they are still a major part of it. And we broke that down. I think that might have been like part 3 of Kybalion. How you doing, Deborah? What's up, Raheem? But let's continue. We have given you the Hermetic teachings regarding the mental nature of the universe. And that's what I was talking about. The truth that the universe is mental, held in the mind of the all, as the Kybalion says in the passage quoted above. All is in the all. So we are within the mental creation of the all, much like when you dream or you daydream or you go on a psychedelic trip or whatever you do, and you manifest an entire universe inside your mind. That universe in your mind is all within you, and you are a part of it. So that's existing in the mind of the all. But note also the correlated statement that it is equally true that the all is in all. This apparently contradictory statement is reconciled under the law of paradox. And we went through the divine paradox previously, but this will recap it a little bit. It is moreover an exact hermetic statement of the relations existing between the all and its mental universe. We have seen how the all is in all. Let us now examine the other aspect of the subject. And I'm just going to keep going so that I don't want to go over a whole big statement and then wind up rereading what it's actually saying. I've read this book so many times, I almost know what it's going to talk about. The Hermetic teachings are to the effect that the all is immanent in, remaining within, inherent, abiding within its universe, and in every particle, unit, or combination within the universe. This statement is usually illustrated by the teacher by the reference to the principle of correspondence, which is what we'll be talking about next week in more detail. The teacher instructs the student to form the mental image of something, a person, an idea, something having a mental form. A favorite example being that of an author or a dramatist forming an idea of his character, or a painter or a sculptor forming an image of an idea that he wishes to express by his art. In each case, the student will find that while the image has its existence and being solely within his own mind, yet he, the student, author, dramatist, painter, or sculptor, is in a sense immanent in remaining within and abiding within the mental image also. In other words, the entire venture, life, spirit, and reality in the mental image is derived from the immanent mind of the thinker. Consider this for a moment under the idea until the idea is grasped. So whenever you consider a character, it is a character. Like if let's say you was writing a book, creating a play, doing a sculpture, there's always a piece of you within it. When you create it, when you manifest it, when you think about it, you are drawing from yourself. So what it's saying is that the all is drawing from itself in the manifestation of the mental image of everything on the planet, of everything in the universe, of every atom, of every molecule. So in the same way that you do that when you are coming up with something, when you are imagining something, let's say if I'm a comic nerd, so if I wanted to create, if I create a comic book strip, I'm going to, there'll be elements of myself, and there'll be elements of that I enjoyed or I think is great, or that all those elements will be part of the characters, right? So there is somewhat of me in them. And that's what it's saying. There is somewhat of the all in every aspect of life, of existence. To take the modern example, let us say that Othello, Iago, Hamlet, Lear, Richard III existed merely in the mind of Shakespeare at the time of their conception or creation. And yet Shakespeare also existed within each of these characters, what I just said, giving them their vitality, spirit, and action. Those, I mean, whose is the spirit of the character that we know as MacIver? Oliver, I said that so wrong. It's so much in my head. McWalber. Why am I? Why I know this goddamn on name and I cannot think of how to say it right. But I'm just going McWalber, Oliver Twist, Uriah Heep. Is it Dickens, or have each of these characters a personal spirit independent of their creator? Have the Venus of Medici, the Sistine Madonna, the Apollo Belvedere spirit and reality of their own, or do they represent the spiritual or mental power of their creator? The law of paradox explains that both positions are true, viewed from the proper viewpoints. Mackelbeer, I don't know why. Mackelbeer, is it Michael Beer? Fuck it. Michael Beer is both Michael Beer and Dickens. McCarver. It's something, I think it's McCarver. I know I'm saying this so wrong. I don't know why today I can't get that, because I know the character. And yet, McCarver is both McCarver and Dickens. And again, McCarver may be said to be Dickens, yet Dickens is not identical to McCarver. Man, like McCarver, may exclaim, the spirit of my creator is inherent within me, and yet I am not he. How different this from the shocking half-truth so vociferously announced by certain of the half-wise who fill the air with the rancorous cries of I am God. Imagine poor McCarver or the sneaky Uriah Heep crying I am Dixon, or some of the lowly clods in the Shakespeare's plays eloquently announcing that I am Shakespeare. The all is the earthworm. The all is in the earthworm, and yet the earthworm is far from being the all. And still, the wonder remains that through the earthworms exists merely as a lowly thing created and having its being solely within the mind of the all, Yet the all is immanent in the earthworm and in the particles that go to make up the earthworm. Can there be any greater mystery than this? Of the all is the all in the all, and the all in all. The all in the all, and the all in all. So, as I was saying earlier, uh, when you create in your mind characters, they are you. I mean, you are within them, but they are not you. That is the divine paradox of the all in all, but all is not the all. Spider-Man has elements of his creator, Stan Lee, the great Stan Lee. But yet Spider-Man can never claim to be Stan Lee. When we claim to be God, it is a fanciful thing of the mind for us to claim such things because we are not. The only time you are a God is when you create a universe in your mind. Outside of that, you are not. Do you have the abilities to do things that are similar to? That is the creation in your mind. That is about it. But we are not, nor will we ever be one with the mind of the all, because then we would have to literally become the all ourselves. And if you became the all yourself and everybody else, it would be chaos, confusion, destruction, because then you will be on equal plane, and therefore the all cannot be the all. If its creation can ever be on equal plane with the creator, it is not the creator, right? Now, the all is within us, but as much as it's within us, it is within a bird, a piece of gravel, the molecules of air that you breathe in. It is within everything. So it's not a form of humility as much as it is just a reality. But let's continue. I want to get past this. Well, get to where we just openly can talk about it before 12 noon. Yeah. The student will, of course, realize that the illustrations given above are necessarily imperfect and inadequate, for they represent the creation of mental images in finite mind, while the universe creation is a creation of infinite mind. And the difference between the two poles separate them, and yet it's merely a matter of degree. The same principle is in operation. The principle of correspondence manifests in each, as above, so below, as below, so above. So basically, it's just giving the example. We are finite mind. The all is infinite mind. We are existing on the same pole of mind, frequency of mind, but the infinite mind is way the hell over there and we way over here, but there are multiple degrees in between, which is where the law of correspondence comes into play, that there are degrees of mentality. When we talk about mind, there are degrees within all of it. I've never read in my whole life. You never read this book, but there are degrees within all of it. Where we are mentally is based on, we'll get to later, on our vibration. We briefly covered in the first Kybalion, in the first chapter of Kybalion Part 1, we went over each hermetic law, giving a brief description. So we should already be familiar, if you've been here for that, with that. The law of polarity, the law of vibration, and the law of correspondence, as above, so below. Things on the below can affect the above. Things on the above can affect the below. To continue, because we got to get. And in the degree that man realizes his existence of the indwelling spirit immanent within his being, so will he rise in his spiritual scale of life. Now, that part is very important. So I want to read it again and I'm going to finish that paragraph. And in the degree that man realizes the existence of the indwelling spirit immanent within his being, so will he rise in the spiritual scale of life. This is what spiritual development means: the recognition, realization, and manifestation of the spirit within us. Try to remember this last definition, that that of spiritual development. It contains the truth of true religion. Many people think that as they are going through their religions, they are learning how to become more spiritual. They are developing their spirituality. But when you exist in fear, you do not exist and you're not developing your spirituality. You are decreasing your vibration. You're not increasing your vibration because you do not grow to a deeper understanding of the spiritual idea, the spiritual plane. You actually are stunting your growth in most religions when it's based on fear and not developing yourself, coming into a higher spiritual vibration. It's kind of like yesterday. Um, how you doing, Erica, Annalise, Joelle? How y'all doing? It's kind of like yesterday when I was saying that although I recognize on the matter plane of existence there is such a thing as race, but my spiritual mind recognized that there is no such thing as race. So when I went from believe spiritually accepting race as a real thing to spiritually realizing that race doesn't exist, it was clicking over to another vibration of understanding and spiritual growth. So we have to do the goal is to do this in every aspect of who you are in your being. The fact that people hold on so tightly to a religion that even when presented with information that is contradictory to it or that is incorrect or that is borrowed from, but yet they still have to hold on to it, demonstrates a lessening of their spiritual growth instead of growing spiritually and recognizing that you are greater. This is why in the Tao, and they talk about Lao Tzu, he said that once you get into the flow of the way, you no longer need Buddhism. Meaning that once you get into a higher spiritual plane, a higher correspondence, you no longer need religion, period. So we have to keep moving. Yes, people hold on so tight to this physical body. If you are making your way through spiritual development through understanding chakras, you will know that to open your crown chakra, it is about releasing all your earthly attachments. This meat suit is an earthly attachment. That's why in the Gospel of Thomas, which is a Gnostic gospel, because the Gnostics were on the right path, on a good pathway as well. They call the body poverty, and if you're holding on to this poverty, then they literally call you poverty, right? Yes, it is crazy that spiritual was absorbed into religion, as it means the same as being as religion. It doesn't, right? Spirituality is not required to believe in a religion. You are absolutely right. Spirituality is an individual journey. Right? This is one reason why it took me so long to do this, because I was like, this is my codex. If I were to start a group that meets and we discuss things, this would be the codex that will be the primary, will be everything will be based off this. This is the codex for me. All right. So to continue, there are many planes of being, many subplanes of life, many degrees of existence in the universe, and all depends upon the advancement of beings in the scale, of which scale the lowest point is the grossest matter, the highest being separated by only the thinnest division of the spirit of the all. And upward and onward along this scale of life, everything is moving. All are on the path. whose end is the all. All progress is a returning home. All is upward and onward. In spite of all seemingly contradictory appearances, such is the message of the illumined. I like to believe that all is on the path, and all may be on the path, but instead of going towards higher spirituality, I believe that though there are many of those who are going away from it. Now, to some, they may call this hell, and in religion, that's how they spun it, that you're going to hell because you're not moving forward. But I believe, I don't believe hell. I know many of the people who think that they are going to a heaven, you are going to end up in the very hell that you have created, that you mentally create for other people. Born into sin. Hey, Debbie, how you doing? Born into sin, her sin is referred to as skin. Okay. You see, like, I don't believe that you're born into sin. Born into sin is ridiculous. Your spirit doesn't even understand that. And plus, to me, there is only one sin. Doing things that goes against your spirit. As long as you're not harming other people, you don't do things that go against your own spiritual path. Why when saying you're spiritual, people automatically think you worship Satan or don't believe in God? That grinds my gears. What's a good reply to them? That they automatically think you worship Satan? Or, okay, I got you. I see what you're saying. You know, the thing about it is that I hate it because I know you heard me, because I know, Deborah, you've been around for a while. I used to say I'm spiritual, but then the religious people took that term and twisted it. They twisted it to either mean one of two things. You are, like you said, worshiping the devil, worshiping Satan, what they call Satan, or they've twisted it to mean that, because they actually have adopted the word spiritual to mean that they have a relationship with God. Because the term religion has gone out of fashion. Religion, people don't like that term anymore. So I honestly don't use the term spiritual, right? That much. But if I were to still be using the term spiritual, and a person said to me, "Oh, so you don't believe in God?" then I just return the question, "What makes you?" I would just say, "I don't believe in your God, but I do believe in a creative mind, an infinite creative mind. But your God, no. What I believe does not require worship, and does not punish and forget about his children and becomes a deadbeat dad." The older I've gotten, the more petty I am, and I will literally tell them, run their God through the ringer, so that they will stop asking me questions, because it's a person I don't want to be around. One step further removed. If you write too much on Facebook, I can't do the see more because it'll mess up the screen. One step further removed from remove this chakra and be free from all those blocks of feeling your true spirituality. Chakra creates fear as well. Fear that they are blocked. They are not managed properly. I can understand what you're saying, because people have a tendency to focus on the negative so much that even when you now, when I do work with people with opening their chakras, I do tell them what blocks their chakra, but it is getting over the fear that allows me to be able to work with them to open it without issue. But when you have the hard case person who is always worrisome, always going to find the negative, honestly, I don't work with them. It's kind of like when I was a personal trainer. I have my program. You got 3 months to acclimate your mindset to my program. If you didn't, I'd fire you. Like, I can't work with you. You know? if heavenly angels who interact with God fail to temptation, how can we expect humans not to also? Well, I don't believe I do. So to qualify that, NYC, I don't accept the whole war in heaven, angels fall into temptation, devil stuff like that. Um, I don't know. People got that story. There are many different places they could have gotten that story from back in the day, um, but that never happened. Every being exists on a plane of existence wherever their mental state is. Uh, and everything is either rising or falling. Nothing stands still. Everything vibrates. So there's always going to be temptation everywhere at all times. The Kemetic people had a sense that when you go to the field of reeds, then uh, I do work with them to remove the fear. That's the primary thing. But when you go through the field of reeds, you will they believe that you will live a life similar to the one that you've already lived, right? So but that was kind of a good first step in the thinking, that everything that as above, so below, as above. Existence will still be existence. They will have some similarities of the below that you just left, but then there will be differences of this new above. And while you're in that new above, you still will have challenges. The main challenge to me is always going to be the blasphemy against yourself, what you think, what you should do, what brings you joy. If worshiping or doing something that you are calling good creates anxiety, creates fear, causes you to, emote negatively or to respond or react negatively, in every cause, then the blasphemy is not the spirit of God. Is the blasphemy is the spirit of yourself, because that spirit of yourself is part of the all. So when they talk about blasphemy against the spirit, it is not a separate spirit. It is yours, your own. So you will always have challenges, is what I'm getting at. It's just if you're on a higher plane, the challenges you faced on the lower plane will not be the same ones that you'll face. Yeah, and when I do talk to them about removing their fears, we go through a process to deal with the fear. Said, why would he build bad temptation if God is so perfect? Because God is not perfect. You can't have a good God without evil. You can't have good without evil. You can't have daylight without darkness. You can't have, you know, those are that's the law of polarity. You have to figure out the pole. So if a person claims there is a good God, then there has to be a negative God. But it is not a good God or a negative God. It is just it is just all in the same. And they're just different poles of the reality. We have to separate it because we're human. We don't, people want to think that they're going to go to heaven and live with this good God and praise him all day. That's a human mind. That's a finite mind trying to realize the infinite. Let's continue. Did I say that part yet? Yep, I did. It's over here. The Hermetic teachings concerning concerning the process of the mental creation of the universe are that at the beginning of the creative cycle, the all, in its aspect of being, projected its will towards its aspect of becoming, and the process of creation begins. Right? I really, I got certain things underlined in here from a while back, but that line there is one that's underlined. I've read past many of them that's underlined, but this one is going to come back, and we're going to talk about this one a little bit more after we get through this part. But I want to read it one more time. The all, in its aspect of being, and remember, think about yourself in this one. in its aspect of being, projects its will towards the aspect of becoming, and the process of creation begins. So your will towards what you are becoming is the process of your own creation. Just think about that as we go. It is taught that the process consists of the lowering of vibration until the very low degree of vibratory energy is reached, at which point the grossest possible form of matter is manifest. This process is called the stage of involution. I said involution, not evolution. I said involution, not evolution. Just want to make sure. In which the all becomes involved or wrapped up in its creation. This process is believed by the hermetists to have a correspondence to the mental process of the artist, the writer, or the inventor who becomes so wrapped up in his mental creation as to almost forget his own creation of his own existence, forget his own existence, and who for the time being almost lives in his creation. If instead of wrap, we use the word rapid, perhaps we will give a better idea of what is meant. I'm sure there's been a time frame when you guys have been doing some work or doing something and you got so wrapped up into what you're creating that you lose yourself. We have those terms where I just lost myself in my work. Man, I got so caught up, that you forget yourself. Would you agree we start this world as babies reacting to everything with negative energy? Babies cry being awakened at birth, then cry to get fed. We become positive from the negative. I'm not so sure. When a baby is born, when a baby is in the womb, it has no reason to cry. It's warm, it's been taken care of. It may be experiencing negative input from the mother or from outside forces if somebody's doing something to the mother. But you're sitting in that warm womb and you come out and you get squeezed out, and then you get somebody sucking something out your mouth, that cold air hits you. I think it's an automated response, not a negative. I mean, it's a negative response. It's negative because this baby is now having a new experience. It's already been experiencing the womb. Now it's experiencing the cold and being shoved out and stuff all in their nose and all in their mouth and all this kind of stuff. So I think it's a normal response. And then, they feel the hunger. They don't know how to communicate other than to cry out. But in the same way, when the baby is being held, it responds to that positivity as well. When the mother holds the baby or the father holds the baby, it responds to that positivity. So I think it's in the duality. I think it's an equal duality at that time frame because the baby is experiencing new things. Then we start teaching a bunch of negative things. We don't know if it's crying. This is true. We don't know if inside is crying, but the baby's constantly. I would imagine if the mother is not being, it's possible. If the mother's not feeding herself and the baby's getting low nutrition inside the womb, it could be crying. I don't know. There's variables in understanding that I can say that I don't have to know whether or not what we're doing. I just know once we come out into the world, we have our 25% genetics of who we are. And that's going to be. But then we have 75% is based on our experiences, our environment, the people around us. And we have a tendency to graft towards our personalities based on that. what do you say here? I wonder if the splitting of the sea is actually the splitting of the field of reeds, as reeds commonly grow in the marshlands. Nope, we're not going to get into that. That's Exodus. But yes, that is one of the stories when you look at it from the point of view of the Hyksos. And that's all I'm going to talk about that. But let's continue in the Kybalion. Where was I? Where are we? The involuntary stage of creation. Did we go through that part yet? No. No, we're here. So y'all get me talking and I lose my spot. All right, the involuntary stage of creation is sometimes called the outpouring of the divine energy. Just as the evolutionary state is called the indrawing, the extreme pole of the creative process is considered to be the furthest removed from the all. While the beginning of the evolutionary stage is regarded as the beginning of the return swing of the pendulum of rhythm and a coming home idea being held in all of the hermetic teachings. So we're talking about this, how it kind of matches up to the singularity of the explosion, but that the people who believe in evolution will go with. But it's also it fits with the law of rhythm. As much as it swings out to the right, it swings back to the left. But just keep that in mind. This whole part needs to be understood in order to get more into the understanding of why the all is in all, and all, but all is not the all. The teachings are that during the outpouring, the vibration becomes lower and lower until finally the urge ceases and the return swing begins. But this is the difference, that while in the outpouring, the creative forces manifest compactly as a whole, yet from the beginning of the evolutionary or indrawing stage, there is manifested the law of individualization, that is, the tendency to separate into unit or forces, so that finally that which is left, the all, is individualized. The all as individualized energy returns to its source as countless highly developed units of life have risen higher and higher in the scale by means of the physical, mental, and spiritual evolution. Now, to some people, that may sound very scientific and sound like it is trying to promote evolution, promote the Big Bang Theory and the Big Crunch. There are similarities to it, but understand this is in the aspect of of all planes of existence, not just the matter plane that the Big Bang, Big Crunch would be talking about. So even in your spirit mind, so to speak, your spirit mind will extend out, go to the lowest form, and then come back, raising its vibration to get back to the higher plane of understanding, right? To So that each spiritual mind comes back to the indrawing of the all. Who created the laws you're referencing? Isn't this the same as one creator made those laws, or do you believe that it is a collection of creation laws? Um, all the law, as we when we first started in this, all the laws are manifested in the mind of the all, right? So the all manifested these laws. The Emerald Tablet just broke it down, but each one of these laws can and is demonstrated uh, in every aspect of existence. Let me see. Oh, y'all talking about babies. Infants' first cry may occur not in the delivery room, but in the womb. With the help of video ultrasound images, it has been found that a group of third trimester fetuses show evidence of crying behavior. Hmm. Well, there we go. Babies cry in the womb. All right, Asher, appreciate you. I learned something new today. Babies get cry in the womb. to continue. Where the hell are we? Right here. The ancient hermetists used the word meditation in describing the process of the mental creation of the universe in the mind of the all. The word contemplation also being frequently employed, but the idea intended seems to be that the employment of the divine attention. Attention is a word derived from the Latin root meaning to reach out, to stretch out. And so the act of attention is really a mental reaching out extension of mental energy so that the underlying idea is readily understood when we examine into the real meaning of attention. So it's going to talk about how the all just it meditated. It's in a state of meditation for this our manifestation, our creation, this mental state. But let's read it since that's exactly what it's about to talk about. Now I want to just repeat and then read the same damn thing. The Hermetic teaching regarding the process of evolution are that the all, having meditated upon the beginning of the creation, having thus established the mental foundation of the universe, having thought it into existence, then gradually awakens or arouses from its meditation, and in so doing starts into manifestation the process of evolution on the material, mental, and spiritual planes successively, and in order. Thus, the upward movement begins, and all begins to move spiritward. Matter becomes less gross. The unit spring into being. The combination beings to form begins to form. Life appears and manifests in higher and higher forms. The mind becomes more and more in evident. The vibration consistently becomes higher. In short, the entire process of evolution in all its phases begins and proceeds according to the established laws of the indrawing process. All of this occupies eons upon eons of man's time, each eon containing countless millions of years, but yet the illumined informs us that the entire creation, including involution and evolution of the universe, is but a twinkle of the eye to the all. At the end of the countless cycles of eons of time, the all withdraws its attention, its contemplation and meditation of the universe, for the great work is finished. And all is withdrawn into the all, from which it emerges. But mysteries of mysteries, the spirit of each soul is not annihilated, but is infinitely expanded. The created and the creator are merged, such is the report of the illumined. I'm a little bit on that part, because that part seems to want to fuse religious rhetoric with evolution, or evolution with religious rhetoric. Either one. It's like it's trying to have its cake and eat it too. Now, I understand that the universe is expanding. So there is the idea of the singularity, because we see that it is still growing out. Um, I can't remember if it's still speeding up, or if it's slowing down. But it's not a constant speed. So the idea is that there will be a crunch, an indrawing back into the singularity. In the same way, this is saying that the created, the all, initially started thinking, and that would be your big bang. And then at the point of ending the meditation, it would withdraw upon itself. But as each eons and eons go by in the twinkling of an eye, it will uh, draw everything back into itself, and you will become merged as part of it. Um, in the way that and it's kind of, I get it, but I accept some of it, not all of it, and would rather just leave it to I don't know, because merging back with the all would be and but still maintaining consciousness of that merging with the all will then make you the all. Now my logic could be off, but that's what that says to me. But at no point can the creation ever be equal to the creator. But you're there, and maybe the meditation just start over again. Like, have you ever had a dream multiple times and it's the same damn dream? Maybe it's some changes here and there, but for the most part, it's the same damn dream. So each thing in the existence of that dream has happened multiple times. I don't know. So I get what they're trying to say, but it seems like they're trying to appease people on both sides of the fences in that part. Like I said when we first started this, I don't agree with everything that's in this book. And neither should you. And neither should you agree with everything that I say. So let's continue. The above illustration of the meditation and subsequent awakening from meditation of the all is, of course, but an attempt of the teacher to describe the infinite process by a finite example. You're right about that. We cannot describe the infinite with the finite and fully understand it and grasp it. And yet, as above, as below, so below, as below, so above. The difference is merely in degree. And just as the all arouses itself from the meditation upon the universe, so does man in time cease from manifesting upon the material plane and withdraws himself more and more into the indwelling spirit, which is indeed the divine ego. And this part, yes, we need to stop our focus, our meditation on this material, or like I like to call it, the matter plane of existence. They do separate. This book goes back and forth in calling it that. But it is merely degrees of understanding and of your spirituality and understanding of everything around you, and growing into your higher spiritual mind, so that when you leave this matter plane, hopefully you will not return to figure it out, but you go into a higher plane of consciousness, which will be into the next spiritual plane. There is one more matter to which we desire to speak in this lesson, and that comes very near to an invasion of the metaphysical field of speculation. Although our purpose is merely to show the futility of such speculation, we allude to the question which inevitably, gotta say it slow to get that word out, comes to the mind of all thinkers who have ventured to seek the truth. The question is, why does the all create the universe? This is always the question, right? Why does the all create the universe? The question may be asked in different forms, but the above is the gist of the inquiry. Men have striven hard to answer this question, but still there is no answer worthy of the name. So have imagined that the all had something to gain by it. But this is absurd. For what could the all gain that it did not already possess? Others have sought to answer in the idea that, and this is something that, listen to these parts. This is something that when people come to you and want to try to push their religion on you, and this is a great response for creation and for their ideas of why we exist for their deity. So I really want you to listen, focus on the words here. All right. Others have sought the answers in the idea that the all wished to create something to love, and others that it created for pleasure or amusement, or because it was lonely, or to manifest its power. All parallel explanations and ideas belong to the childish period of thought. Others have sought to explain the mystery by assuming that the all found itself compelled to create by reason of its own internal nature, its creative instinct. This idea is in advance of the others, but its weak point lies in the idea that the all being compelled by anything internal or external. If its internal nature or creative instinct compelled it to do anything, then the internal nature or creative instinct would be the absolute instead of the all. And so accordingly, that part of the proposition fails or falls. And yet the all does create and manifest and seems to find some kind of satisfaction in doing so. And it is difficult to escape the conclusion that in some infinite degree, it must have what would correspond to an inner nature or creative instinct in man with correspondingly infinite desire and will. It could not act unless it willed to act, and it would not will to act unless it desired to act, and it would not desire to act unless it obtains some satisfaction thereby. And all of these things would belong to the inner nature and might be postulated as existing according to the law of correspondence. But still we but still we prefer to think of the all as acting entirely free of any influence, internal as well as external. That is the problem which lies at the root of difficulty, and the difficulty that lies at the root of the problem. Speaking strictly, there cannot be said to be any reason whatsoever for the all to act, for a reason implies a cause, and the all is above cause and effect, except when it wills to become a cause, and which time the principle is set in motion. So you see, the matter is unthinkable, just as the all is unknowable. Just as we say the all merely is, so are we compelled to say that the all acts because it acts. At least the all is all reason in itself, the law in itself, all actions in itself, and it may be said truthfully that the all is its own reason, its own law, its own act, or still further, that the all, its reason, its act, its law, are one of all names of the same thing. In the opinion of those who are giving you these present lessons, the answer is locked up in the inner self of the all, along with its secret of being. The law of correspondence, in our opinion, reaches only to the aspect of the all, which may be spoken of as the aspect of becoming. Back of that aspect is the aspect of being, in which all the laws are lost in law, all principles merged into principle, and the all, principle and being, are identical, one and the same. Therefore, metaphysical speculation on the point is futile. We go into the matter here merely to show that we recognize the question and also the absurdity of the ordinary answer of metaphysics and theology. I hope y'all got all of that. I know that was a lot. But this is one of those things that, as for someone who is deconstructed from all religions, but still accepting that there is an infinite creative mind at work, and not so well. There's an infinite creative mind, not at work, but there's an infinite creative mind. Because I don't accept the Geppettoing of life on Earth. We all, it's like, hey, Here's the universe. Don't mess it up. Here's the laws of how you function to raise your vibration to come into a higher consciousness. But hey, I ain't sitting up here sending people and messengers and all that sorts of thing. It's all there for you and your understanding. I do take bits and pieces. I take parts that fit, but if it can't stand up to these laws, I kind of disregard it. But when they say what, that was always a question for me when I was younger. Why did God create us? Why were we created? What is our purpose? Why are we here? What is the purpose of heaven? What is the purpose of hell? Uh, this God seems to have a lot of human qualities: anger, hate, jealousy, love, um, all these sorts of things. That cannot be, because if that God had all of those, if it had jealousy, then jealousy is more absolute than God, because jealousy compels this God to act a certain way. Anger compels this God to work a certain way. So if this deity had emotions, then those emotions would compel this, be more compelling, and force this God to do things. So then the emotions would be more absolute. So the deity of the all cannot have emotions. It didn't create because it needed something to love. If it has a need, then that would mean that it is lacking. If Since Joel mentioned pieces of other books in the Buddhist tradition, the idea is to get rid of desire and need. And the idea of need is that you are lacking something. This is why when I talk to people and they say, what we need to do, I'm like, don't speak in need. Because when you speak in need, you're speaking of a constant lack. It is better to speak in desire than to speak in, because desiring is a wanting. And when you have a wanting for something, you're more apt to achieve it. But when it comes to the all, there can neither be need nor desire, because then that need or desire will constitute a lack that the all has. And if the all has a lack, then it cannot be the all. It must be 100% without need or want or any of those things. So basically, why did the all create? Simply because it does, not because of any outside influence nor internal influences, just simply because it did. It does and it did. And at the end of the day, we won't know. So let's finish off this chapter, then we can have free flowing conversation before anybody shows up here at the lounge. In conclusion, it may be of interest to our students to learn that while some of the ancient and modern hermetic teachers have rather inclined in the direction of applying the principles of correspondence to the question with the result of the inner nature conclusion, still the legend has it that Hermes the Great, when asked this question by his advanced students, answered them by pressing his lips tightly together and saying not a word, indicating that there was no answer. There is no answer. But then he may have intended to apply the axiom of the philosophy that the lips of wisdom are closed except to the ears of understanding. I love that saying. I've used that one many times before. The lips of wisdom are closed except to the ears of understanding. I'm not going to waste the wisdom, the knowledge of the wisdom, to someone who lacks the ability to understand it. This is one reason why I don't do debates that often. Believing that his advanced students did not possess the understanding which entitled them to the teaching. At any rate, if Hermes possessed the secret, he failed to impart it, and so far as the world is concerned, the lips of Hermes are closed regarding it. And where the great Hermes hesitated to speak, what mortal may dare teach? But rather, that whatever be the answer to this problem, if indeed there be an answer, the truth remains that while all is in the all, it is equally true that the all is in all. The teachings on this point is emphatic, and we may add the concluding words of the quotation. To him who truly understands this have come great knowledge. The Kybalion by the Three Initiates. Put my bookmark in. The video is frozen. Is it still frozen? Yeah, I saw when YouTube did this reconnect thing. I mean, Facebook did a reconnect. It does that from time to time. So, what do you guys, for those who have been here for the entire time or any amount of time, what do you guys think about the aspect of the all in all? The all is in all, but all is not the all. Or even the bigger point, that question of creation. Why did the all create? What are your thought processes on that as well? Or any other aspects that we talked about? Is there any questions, any thoughts concerning it? Ooh, feeling a little snackish, but I don't like to eat on camera. I always find that weird when people do that. So are we still frozen on Facebook? Facebook didn't get the creation part. It froze that long. How long was it frozen? Let me find a short version. Let me find the shortest version of that. Kind of macabre. So you didn't get the part on Facebook where it was going, men have striven to answer the question, but still there is no answer worthy of the name. So some have imagined that the all had something to gain by it, and this is talking about creation. But this is absurd. For what could the all have gained that it had not merely possessed? Others have sought the answer in the idea that the all wishes something to love, and others have created the pleasure, and others that it created for pleasure or amusement, or because it was lonely, or to manifest its power. All peril explanations and ideas belonging to the childish thought. Y'all didn't get that part, Joel? And then it goes on and talks about desire and will. I can tell you this, that part is right around 1 hour on YouTube. Around like 58 minutes, 1 hour on YouTube, on the YouTube version. But I just read through it about it being compelled. If the all is compelled by any reason, whether internal or external, then that would make the internal or external more powerful and more absolute than the all. And this dude, like he coming to stay. I might have to stop. Hold on. I don't know this dude. Let's see. But it was right around that 1 hour point.
All right, appreciate it.
How you doing?
What's up, boss?
How you doing, man?
All right. How's it going, man?
Pretty good.
Good?
Yeah. How you been?
I'm good.
You hanging out with me?
No, I'm heading to work, man, but I need some sticks.
Okay, we don't stop. I just had to ask whether I was gonna stop my live or not, based on what, on the first person who said. Okay, so y'all hold on. But yeah, so right around that 58 minutes, some mark like that on YouTube. But it's basically the understanding that nothing outside of the all or inside of the all can compel the all to manifest or create or even do anything. Like people say God is love. No. Because then love would compel the all to do everything and anything that it does. So nothing can compel the all to do anything. It simply does it because it does it. But the truth of the matter is nobody actually knows. That's why I said Hermes pressed his lips together when asked this question. Hold on.
You got no ATL sticks?
No, we don't carry ATL right now.
Oh, yeah, I don't care.
I mean, not that we don't like them. We just rebuilding the inventory.
Oh,
So
okay.
it's just one of the ones I haven't gotten to yet.
Okay.
And you know, we still do our deal where you pick up 4
Right.
sticks, your least expensive on house.
All right. Buy 3, get 1.
Yep. Well, that's when you try something new.
Okay, do that. What you got me?
I don't know what's new to you.
What's a pretty good,
What's new to you? Yeah, I could point out something, but you're like, I had that before. I can tell you, yeah, that's a lot of black and yellow box.
Okay. Oh, okay. I'll leave black and yellow.
I got that
Okay.
But strong. King County got some nice. And good life is gonna do, man. This road is gonna go. I did a video on the cream yesterday. So the cream is like, I didn't look it up. So I was right. The nickel rod. The cream gets more cream than I have. The road, yeah. That's the funny part about it. Just got him in yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Because I smoked all through them. Nah, man, you don't want to hang out with me no more.
I've been working like a dog.
I don't want to hear work.
Hey,
That's no excuse.
it ain't, but that's what I've been doing. Get up at 4 o'clock, come home at 9. Hey.
Oh.
Yeah, Monday through Friday. Black man be tired of shit on weekend. I'm going to go nowhere.
I'm mad that I'm getting up at 6:30 right now.
Oh, shit. I wish I could get up at 6:30.
Man, that's just wrong.
Yeah, that's what I said. I said I'll get there in August.
I should never be getting up at 6:30 in the morning.
Yeah, I'm gonna be some kind of. Yeah.
Don't worry about it, son. Okay, I got you. I cannot stand this early rise BS.
You're what, 12?
Yeah. Open at noon. Today we close at midnight.
Oh, right.
I'm not getting up at 6:30 tomorrow morning. I'm just not going to.
Midnight during the week? Yeah, what's...
We close at midnight Thursday, Friday, and Saturday.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And then, of course, once football season, we close at noon the other time. I mean, at 10. But once football season starts, we'll stay up to end of the Sunday night game and Monday night game. And the NBA Finals is going on, so there's a finals game on any other day.
Other day,
I watched that damn game. Yeah, we'll stay up. We'll stay for those. But it's the finals.
Right.
Need back.
Yeah, let me get back.
You know what? You might be out of luck. I'm out of bag.
Oh, okay.
Sorry about that.
Oh, you good.
Well, hold on.
You don't sell the mobile pack, do you?
I normally do, but since I don't have a bag for your other ones in here, let me get you those already are.
Yeah.
Ready to go. But I do have some packs in. Come in certain boxes. It's still good.
Oh, okay. That works.
I'm saying that meeting.
All right.
Appreciate you. Can't say I never gave nothing, right?
Appreciate y'all. Can't say that.
Ah, see? There you go.
Bro.
All right, man. Have a good one. Ah, I appreciate y'all patience. See, this is what I'm saying. We got to grow this channel. And then, so I don't have to deal with people. Because I already don't like getting up early. And of course, I've been wanting to stay on here for like 4 or 5 hours. I watched this one lady. She stayed on TikTok live for like 8, 9 hours. I wasn't watching her. She was just on there, and then she mentioned she had been. Let's see. So you'll check it out on there. But yeah, I mean, it's pretty much saying what I was talking about it earlier. We will never know why we were created. People have this thing within us that says that we have to have an answer. We must be able to answer every question. Why are we here? What by what methodology did we get here? Who created us? Why did they create us? What are we supposed to do to, what happens after death? We have to have an answer. We have a difficulty saying, I don't know, or I'll find out. But at some point, you have to. Some of the first religions began because the mountain exploded and the volcano erupted. The earthquake happened. The tsunami happened. The crops didn't come in. And a deity was then manifested by man in order to explain why these things happened. And once that became a method of control, of course, it became politicized and utilized in order to control the people. But there are certain questions that no matter what plane of existence you are existing on, you won't know. And for me, one of the things of your spiritual growth is to reconcile the idea that there are questions you will not have the answer to, but to be able to live in peace with that. You have to get to a point where you can live in peace with the fact that you don't actually know what's going to happen when you pass on. Live in peace with you don't know why you were manifested, why you were created. You won't know those things. But to maintain any levels of anxiety about those things is going to negatively affect your spirit. That is sinful, in my opinion, because then that negativity will lower your vibration. It will lower your spirituality. Your consciousness will not be prepared for whatever happens afterwards. Think about how many people who believe in a religion, right? And you believe, let's say a person believes in Christianity, and for their mindset, and as depicted in many movies, there's a long line of people standing, waiting to get to the pearly gate to be judged and see if their name is in a book. And then they go through the pearly gate, which I think is an absurd idea, because If God is omniscient, why would there need to be a book that you have to stand in line for? Should you just not poof into heaven automatically because it's already known, right? But this is the idea that many people have, is that they're going to be in this line and they're going to be a book and they got to see if their name is in the book. And Peter's going to be by the book and they walk through the gate. Imagine the trauma that a person will have if they were to die, when they die from this existence, and there's not that line, there's not the book, there's not the pearly gate, there's not Peter, but they are going through a process where there are other things that are happening. Can their mind, is their mind strong enough or in a position to recognize and accept the difference and say, okay, this is just what's going down. Now let me figure out the next aspect of what I'm going to do or whatever. But if they are so traumatized by not getting what they expected, that is when the fear creeps in. That is when the negative, the manifestation of what they call hell and demons and all these things, at that point creeps in, comes in. Their mind is powerful. Your mind is powerful. You know, you'll manifest some stuff amazing. You can amazingly manifest some things. But you're now allowing for lower vibrational entities to do their thing. And the trauma that you go through, which could lead you right back to earth, to another womb. When, if you was here when we did the Book of the Dead, that's kind of what happens, except it's not an outside entity that creates the negative manifestations, but it is your own mind that creates the negative manifestation. Now, what I do think happens in this process is closer to what the Book of the Dead, the Tibetan Book of the Dead, explains. It is all your own personal mental creations. The sad part about it is that most people will not see the pearly gates or this line and all that sort of thing. Now, my first example was if it's preset, some other entity is doing it. But I honestly, for me, it is, you will manifest whatever it is you truly believe in the deeper recesses of your mind, not the bullshit that you'll come on and you'll type in or you'll say in front of people, standing in front of your pastors, your deaconesses and deacons and your shamans and whomever else or whatever you do. But what you truly believe that you shall receive is what is going to happen. Most people are in a religion where they do not believe truly that they are good enough for what they call heaven. They think they're filthy rags. They think they're worthless. They're born into sin. They're always sinful. They're not redeemable. They say they're redeemable by the blood of Christ and the sacrifice of Jesus, or by the prayers to Allah and the good deeds that they've done, and so on and so forth. But every person knows that for the most part, for the most part, most people do more wrong than they do good. Even counting the minor, when you count the minor, little lie here, didn't put the correct information there. Like, hell, just me doing my taxes is probably enough. But in all of that, most people will feel, in their true understanding, the true balancing of the scales in their subconscious mind, they are not worthy. And even those who believe that Jesus sacrificed himself for them do not believe that they were worthy of the sacrifice. Now, if you don't believe that you're worthy of the sacrifice, and your mind is so powerful to manifest whatever it is that happens after you leave here to become your new reality, where do you think most of those people are going to manifest themselves to be? They're going to manifest themselves to be in the very hell that they claim they're trying to save others from. Most people are going to go to whatever the hell of their religion is, because that's where they believe they truly belong. So it is incumbent upon you that while you are existing here now, that you must determine where you will end up when you leave this consciousness. Whether you return here and understand the idea of hell, it is some will manifest the whole fire, brimstone, all that kind of stuff. But I believe that most will manifest themselves back to earth, but into a life that is hellish. That for the most part is filled with negativity, is filled with failures, is filled with lack, filled with need. And don't get me that you get. I'm not saying that in order for it to be hell, you got to be living in the absolute worst conditions and situations. No, hell for somebody could be always striving to have something. The brass ring is just within your grasp and it's always taken away. I lived through that kind of hell for years, for decades, when it came to business, um, came to relationships. The brass ring seems within my grasp, but something was always inhibiting me from actually grabbing hold of it. It is a literal indwelling of a hell of its own. And many people don't realize that, right? That's what they're living. That's what they're dealing with. They're living in a current hell right now. The overwhelming majority of people are in some type of lack that is causing them internal and emotional hell. So hell is not always fire and skin being peeled back and seared, and, you know, gnashing of teeth and all that. Hell is right now for a lot of people, and it's varying degrees of it. We talked about the pole. There are varying degrees of hell based on each individual person. So the question for you to answer, and you can only answer it for yourself. No one else can answer this for you. What are you preparing your mind for? Are you preparing your spirit form, your consciousness for? Are you preparing it for a higher consciousness in a higher state, in a higher existence? Are you preparing it to come back here and live in the matter plane, but at a lower vibration, believing that you deserve without realizing that you got yourself back here, fighting against what you're dealing with, but you brought yourself back here because you thought your true thought is that you deserve whatever you're going through? Or are you preparing it for even lower vibration to manifest the actual hell that you've been taught in schools, in religion, in television, in movies, in stories? Do you realize that people didn't even have this idea of the different levels of hell until Dante's Inferno? Like the average person didn't have that. But Dante's Inferno was so widespread, and it continues to be widespread, that that's what people envision hell is. It's an author's creation. That's what he manifested in his mind. You should think about those things. Literally, your next life depends on it. Your next life literally depends on it. As Joel said, that's why we can't be punished for it. You just don't know shit, or we don't get no what. That's exactly why we can't be punished for it. You just don't. Oh, you just don't know, right? Or we don't get the knowledge. True. I wouldn't punish my child for things that they just absolutely didn't know. I'm not the American government that says that ignorance of the law is no excuse, or something. However it goes like that. Mm-mm. But what do you guys think?